The island was a paradise, but for Do-hyuk, it was a green hell. He was stranded. Food and water were scarce. Time was a luxury he couldn't afford, with the ominous main trial looming over his head.
But I am a survivor. I have faced impossible odds before, stared death in the face, and emerged victorious. This time will be no different.
Do-hyuk scanned his surroundings, his eyes searching for any sign of salvation. The lush greenery mocked him, a feast for the eyes but offering little sustenance. Relying on his wits and survival instincts, he set about securing his survival. His first priority, finding food. Hope arrived in the form of a compass, not of north and south, but of survival. The compass of Tyrant, a relic from his past trials, pulsed with an ethereal light. It was more than just a navigational tool, it was a guide, a beacon leading him towards the resources he desperately needed.
Holding the compass aloft, I feel a surge of gratitude towards its previous owner, the tyrannical ruler who had unwittingly bequeathed me this invaluable tool.
The compass pulsed, its needle spinning wildly before settling on a direction. Eastward it beckoned, towards the towering cliffs that marked the edge of the island. Trusting in the guidance of this strange artifact, Do-hyuk steeled himself for the descent. He had faced perilous climbs before, had stared down from dizzying heights, and emerged unscathed. The descent was treacherous. The cliff face was slick with moisture, the air thick with the salty tang of the sea. Every handhold was a gamble, every foothold a prayer. But Do-hyuk pressed on, driven by the pangs of hunger and the promise of sustenance.
As I descend, the light begins to fade. The sun, once a comforting presence, is now obscured by the towering cliffs, casting long, eerie shadows across the rock face.
An unsettling darkness enveloped him, amplifying the sense of isolation and danger. The air grew heavy, thick with the musk of unknown creatures and the oppressive weight of the island's secrets. Deeper and deeper he climbed, the roar of the ocean crashing against the cliffs growing louder with each passing moment. His muscles screamed in protest. His fingers ached from the strain, but still he pushed onward. The darkness wasn't the only thing that awaited Do-hyuk. As he carefully made his way down, he noticed them. Dark, almost perfectly circular patches clinging to the cliff face. They were unnervingly smooth, like polished obsidian, and they pulsed with a faint, eerie light.
A primal fear, a deep-seated instinct, screamed at me to turn back.
His warning came a moment too late. From the depths of one of the dark circles, a monstrous claw emerged. It was a grotesque appendage, easily the size of a man, tipped with a razor-sharp pincer that glinted menacingly in the fading light. The pincer snapped shut with a deafening crack, missing Do-hyuk by a hair's breadth. Do-hyuk, adrenaline surging through his veins, clung to the cliff face for dear life. He was outmatched, outgunned, and facing a creature unlike anything he had ever encountered. Just when all hope seemed lost, a deafening screech pierced the air. A shadow descended from the sky, a massive silhouette against the fading light. It was a bird, but of a size that defied belief. Its wingspan dwarfed even the largest of trees, its feathers like blades of obsidian.
The giant eagle, its plumage a mix of jet black and silver, swooped down, its talons extended. It was a magnificent creature, both terrifying and awe-inspiring in its raw power.
With a speed that belied its size, the eagle struck the giant pincer, its talons tearing through the creature's tough exoskeleton. The crab, caught off guard, let out a deafening screech of pain, its grip on the cliff face momentarily loosening. It was a brief respite, a moment of opportunity that Do-hyuk knew he had to seize. Do-hyuk's mind raced, calculating angles and trajectories. He had always been resourceful, able to turn even the most mundane objects into weapons. Now, with his life hanging in the balance, he reached for the one weapon he had at his disposal: stones.
With a flick of my wrist, I sent a stone hurtling towards the dark circle.
It struck true, hitting the creature inside with a sickening thud. A roar of pain echoed from within, followed by a flurry of movement as the creature thrashed about in anger. The giant pincer, momentarily distracted, loosened its grip on the cliff face even further.
I seized the opportunity, raining down a barrage of stones upon the exposed flesh of the giant pincer.
With a final mighty heave, the giant pincer was dislodged, tumbling down into the depths below with a splash that echoed across the island. Dohyuk, exhausted but victorious, allowed himself a moment of relief. He had stared death in the face and lived to tell the tale. But his ordeal was far from over.
The giant eagle, its task complete, let out a triumphant cry before soaring back into the sky. I watched it go, a sense of awe washing over me. I had witnessed firsthand the raw power of nature, both its beauty and its brutality. But more importantly, I had survived.
The compass of Tyrant pulsed warmly in his hand, its light guiding him towards the fallen creature. He had food, he had a fighting chance. The main trial still loomed, but for now he would savor this victory.